Probiotics are like a visiting repair crew for your gut. So, why do most clinical trials say they don't work? The truth is, we've been asking the wrong question and running the wrong kind of study. Let me show you what's really going on here. Okay, hi, my name is Marc Bates. I'm a metabolic health coach, and this is part of my question and answer series. This one is why probiotic research keeps failing, but they might still work for you. Okay, so let's go to the question. You've described probiotics as a visiting repair crew that triggers lasting effects beyond their brief stay. But here's what puzzles me about the research. If these benefits are so significant and the mechanisms so well established, why do we see such inconsistent results in clinical trials? Are we looking at a fundamental flaw in how probiotic research is conducted? Or is there something about these individual microbiome variability that makes these repair crew effects highly unpredictable? Well, yeah, that is exactly it. Because that is the nuanced observation you should get from this. And yes, you've touched on a central paradox in probiotic research. The inconsistency in clinical trial outcomes, despite clearly defined mechanisms, is not just frustrating, it's very instructive. Here's what the latest science suggests is really going on. So let's talk about microbiome variability. So the composition and function of the gut microbiome vary dramatically between individuals due to genetics, diet, medications, especially antibiotics or PPIs, age, environment, and early life exposures. This means the terrain, right, that it makes up your gut, the probiotic lands on is different every time. Some people are permissive hosts who allow colonization or transient activity. Others are very resistant and rapidly eliminate the strain without much interaction. For example, a 2018 study in Cell found that probiotics colonized the gut only in people with certain baseline microbiome traits, and that in some they were completely expelled with no measurable effect. But there's also strain-specific effects. Saying probiotics improve gut health is like saying drugs treat disease. It's overly broad. Most meta-analyses lump together dozens of strains, delivery formats, and dosing regimes. Many trials use low-quality or generic strains with no proven clinical history. So for example, you might get a study that looks at Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG, which might improve diarrhea in kids, but Lactobacillus acidophilus may have no effect in the same trial setting. They are both lactobacilli, but they are very different strains and have very different effects. And so you got to take that into effect here. Okay, short trial duration. This is probably the biggest problem, and this is why studying this is so difficult. It's really hard to get people to stay on these trials for very long, right? Where they're being measured, what they're eating is being controlled, and they're under clinical observation all the time. So transient effects can still reprogram immune or metabolic signaling, but most trials don't measure these shifts over time, right? And that's the problem. So lack of long-term follow-up masks whether benefits persist after the microbiomes are gone. Okay, you also have confounding diet and lifestyle. A probiotic's effect is magnified or nullified by what you're feeding it. A low-carb, high-fat, a ketogenic or carnivore diet, for example, alters substrate availability and dramatically shifts microbiota toward bile-tolerant species because you're getting a lot of bile because of the fat content of your diet, which could amplify or inhibit probiotic activity. Trials rarely control for fiber, polyphenols, oxalates, emulsifiers, seed oils, all of which impact probiotic microbiome interaction. Okay? Finally, there's this placebo effect that we've heard about frequently, and the expectancy effects. The gut-brain axis, which is really what the microbiome is affecting, is a highly sensitive biome to belief, stress, and psychological state. So if you think it'll work or you think it won't work, that will almost always affect the trial. So probiotic trials in mood or IBS often show large placebo responses, up to 40 to 50%, obscuring real but modest effects. So, where are we at? Is there a flaw in the research model? Well, partially yes, and here's why. Most RCTs, that's randomized control trials, in probiotic research borrow designs from pharmaceutical drug trials, but probiotics are ecological therapies, not a single molecule agent. The same strain may help a person with dysbiosis and do nothing for someone with a healthy gut. Microbiome informed trial designs, for example, stratifying by enterotype, metabolic profile, inflammation markers, are still rare because these are very expensive and time consuming to put together. But these would be required for clearer results. Okay? So the bottom line is the inconsistent effects of probiotics in clinical trials are not necessarily a sign that they don't work. They reflect how profoundly individualized the gut ecosystem is and how suited our current trial models are to account for that. It's not a flaw in the microbes, it's a flaw in how we study them. And the other thing is we've got to look at what are we looking for. Are we looking for long-term stability in the microbiome, or are we looking for that short-term repair? And if you build your study for one or the other, you will miss something. So I always look at adding probiotics, specific types, and probably not the microbiome, not the bacteria itself, but specific types of fiber that bacteria loves to eat to help get them rolling in your gut. Okay, there are things to do, but it's very tough. This takes time. You got to work together. There are so many options in here. This is not something that we can just look at a chart and say this is the results. Okay, so just be careful with probiotics. It's not something that's going to work for everybody. In fact, it works for very few, quite honestly. Okay, it just haphazardly. You got to really study into this. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the appropriate section. And once again, if there's anything that you want us to follow up on for you, this is a community. We're here to help you understand. Let me know what you're looking for, and we'll work on it for it. And as always, please like, subscribe, share this with somebody who might need it, that you've heard about talking about their guts causing them problems, and they took a probiotic and really didn't do anything for them. And they're wondering why they keep taking this product every day for months and months, and it's not doing anything. This might help them understand that. Thank you very much.